let's install Ubuntu, Linux installation version, distribution, into VirtualBox Virtual Machine. So to start with that, we'll go to ubuntu.com. Ubuntu.com. We want to download the latest LTS version, so we'll go to download. We've got 1804 as the current LTS version when this recording is made. Grab whatever LTS there is. So LTS is the long-term supported version. The development versions change frequently. The long-term supported version is, well, I don't know, it's stable for at least a year. We'll use that. Click on that. It starts the download process. And now it's copying that file into my downloads directory. Now that the download has happened, I will start Oracle VirtualBox. I'll say I want to start a new virtual machine. I'm going to name it Ubuntu 18. And if you name it something that it recognizes as a Linux distribution, it will automatically change the type to Linux and the version, in this case, to Ubuntu. It automatically detects 64-bit. That's good. I'm running a 64-bit operating system. I want to increase the memory size to at least 2 gigabytes. So I'll change that to 2048. Create a virtual hard disk is good. VDI is good. Dynamically allocated is good. Instead of 10, I'll go with 50 gigabytes. Should be enough. Go ahead and create my virtual hard disk. And that part's done. So now what we have is a file on our hard drive that is a simulated it's a virtual machine. So it's simulated hardware. What we need to do before we boot up this machine for the first time is associate the Ubuntu installation media that we downloaded, that ISO file. We want to pretend like that ISO file is installed as a DVD into a DVD drive. So it automatically starts booting it for installation. I'm going to go to the storage device, and I'm going to the IDE controller and add an optical drive here. I'll say add the drive, and in my downloads directory I have the Ubuntu ISO file that we just downloaded. I'll click open and choose, and now our virtual hardware thinks that it has an installation DVD in its virtual DVD drive. Click OK. Click Start, and we'll try and start the installation for this Linux. Select the startup disk. Yep, that's one we want. I don't need that message about auto capture. The little icons down below will give you a clue about what it's doing. I told it to boot off the DVD drive, so it should start reading this DVD drive, and it should start loading Ubuntu. There it goes. Delete that message about mouse pointer integration. You can see activity on the bottom here. At some point it should load enough of the Ubuntu operating system in the virtual machine to ask, do I want to run it off the DVD drive or do I want to install it onto my virtual hard drive? There we go, that looks good. There we go. So do I want to try Ubuntu or install it? In this case, I want to install it. If this was an actual DVD drive on your actual Windows hard drive, I wouldn't do this. But we're in a virtual environment, and you can tell because we're inside the Oracle VirtualBox window. English keyboard works for me. Normal installation is fine. Download updates is fine. I'm going to add install third-party software. This is a scary message. Erase disk and install Ubuntu. Again, just double check. You're inside VirtualBox, so erasing the disk means you're just erasing the virtual disk. So I'll say install now. And just one more confirmation. Write those changes. Yes. You can see lots more activity going on between the hard drive, the optical drive, and the network. Los Angeles time zone's fine, so I'll say continue. My name, I'm going to keep this simple. Mike. Mike VirtualBox is fine. Username is Mike, fine. You don't need a password, frankly, but I'm just going to pick a weak one. It's actually the word password, so I don't forget. Because this is not a production environment, and I'm inside a VirtualBox, inside a secure network, so I'm not too worried. Let's see, continue. If you're going to be spending much time at all, or any time at all, perhaps, on your virtual machine, accessing the internet, you go ahead and make a strong password. There, now it's going to start the installation process. So I'm going to pause and pick up after it's made some more progress. Okie doke. Looks like our installation is complete. So I will say restart now. And sometimes there's some really cryptic text that happens during a Linux boot. It says please remove the installation medium and then press enter. I just pressed enter. I'll remove the installation medium after it boots and seems to work okay. A lot of people just leave the virtual DVD linked as it is, and that's usually works fine. If it tries to do an installation again, then we could shut down the machine and remove that, but It should boot up to the live operating system next. I'm not seeing a lot of activity. So I'm going to force a shutdown of this machine. I'll just say file, no, machine. There we go. ACPI shutdown. Okay, we'll click close the window and say power off the machine. Okay. That's like holding down the power button on a real machine. So let's go into storage. And now I can remove that drive. So I highlight the drive, go down here to the little red X and click that and say OK. Now the installation media is gone. I'll try to restart it from scratch. So that was just like a failed initial boot. It looks better. Let's see. Ubuntu, sure, that works. I just pressed enter to start it booting from Ubuntu. Fine. Let's see, /dev/sda1, clean, that's a good sign. There's Ubuntu. Looks like I've got my mic login. My secret password of password. Once this boots up, feel free to play around with it a bit, see if you can change your desktop. I'm going to leave mine generic and just show you how you can open up the command prompt, since that's what we're going to be doing most of our time, is using the command prompt. Okay, this is the standard Ubuntu desktop. Let's see, if you click Control-Alt-T, let's hold down the Control key, hold down the Alt key, and hold down the T key, Tango. Now we've got an Ubuntu desktop with the command prompt running. So if you upload a screenshot of this, then I'll know that you can access the command window from your Ubuntu, and you'll be good to go for this part of the assignment, which is just setting up your environment. Bing. Great.